Hey, phony homies, it's week 12. And boy, do we have an awesome show for you today. It's time for episode 17 of season 5's Fake Football Guys show. On today's episode, we discuss this week's waiver wire ads, drops, some spit. We got some video for you. You guys got it, and so much more. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fake Football Guys show. I'm your host, Giancarlo Campos, and alongside me is the most dedicated co-host of all time, Dustin DL Lingaman. What's up, DL?
DL. What's up, man? How you been living?
Good, bro. Good. I said dedicated because, boy, oh boy, do we have a crazy show today.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to kind of talk about this real quick before we kind of get into like the news and all that fun stuff. Did you know that week 11 actually had the lowest point percentage across every single format?
Like point totals?
Yeah, like average totals. So if you put in an average, like a weekly average, like if you look at your league, it will say per team scores 150 points or 130 points, right? This week alone, the highest number was 85.9. It was crazy. It was the lowest scoring week in fantasy football. This week. So, which makes sense because you had a whole bunch of no-namers out of nowhere. Ted, right? Ted
McMillan,
yeah. Went off. I sat him. It was fun. Christian Watson went off. All these people that you thought were going to be huge or that were going to be busts, he sat, right? And the ones that were supposed to put up points, crap the bed. So let's talk about, I don't know. Well, Drake London got kind of injured, so I don't fault him for that. But Emeka Ibuka, they're going up against the Bills, but he turned out low. Ashton Genty, I think he got the ball 7 times and ran for 9 yards against the 31st defense in the league out of 32 against the run, right?
Yeah.
Screw Chip Kelly. I don't like him. Obviously, guess who I had? Not gonna lie, I went up against you this week. I was sweating bullets because Dak blew up. What was it, 4 touchdowns? And in the first half, I was oh my God. I had a good 30 to 40 point lead. I was sweating bullets. But just crazy week. A lot of talent that usually goes off didn't go off or just were low in the numbers. But sorry, go ahead.
What do you attribute the low scores to? Is defense back? What do you weather related? A lot of bad quarterback play. What do you think it is?
That's a loaded question. I would definitely say weather had an issue, especially against the Lions and Eagles game for sure. It's not so bad. If you're watching football, rain, if it's not raining hard, it really doesn't affect it. But wind will definitely affect a lot, especially, obviously they're throwing the ball. So the wind takes it and sails it, or they overcompensate, or they underthrow it, or what have you. Honestly, I can't answer that question. I have no idea why all of a sudden this was the week. I don't know if it was just because tougher matchups. If you looked at it, the Kansas City and Denver game, that was, I had a feeling that was going to be defense, just driven. It's which defense is better, basically. But yeah, I didn't do a deep dive there, but I don't know. What do you think?
I just think that a lot of these teams are crazy talented. The Giants are the best, I feel like. Well, the Lions are the best team the Bears have played this year, but the Giants are the second best team the Bears have played this year so far. They looked really good, man, and I think everyone's good. I think there's a lot of good football teams out there, and I think the skill gap between the number 1 team and the last place team, it's big, but it's not as big as people make it seem. any given Sunday, right? Anything could happen in a matchup. Anybody could win any game. So I think we're seeing a little bit more of that. A lot of quarterback play around the league. A lot of young quarterbacks coming up too. So I think a little bit of that, and sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles too.
All right, look, we're starting things off really quick here. We already have a trade question. Trade Marks, Dunze for Ty Warner and Olave.
Ty Warren, yeah, see. Marks and Odunze for Ty Warren and Olave. No, I would not do that.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I just think I'd rather have the Odunze side personally. I like what Olave's done this year. I just don't think he can sustain it, especially with the quarterback play. I just don't think.
Let's be honest. This is a Marks for Ty Warner trade.
Yeah,
they just kind of sprinkled that in, just to be like, hey, you get a Olave.
And looking at the team, he's got Lamb and London and Odunze, so he's loaded at receiver. But he might have just lost London for 2-3 weeks. So
could be 4.
Yeah, it could be 4. So with that news coming out, there's no timetable yet. But PCL sprains, there was just one that happened in the NBA, and the guy's out for 6 weeks. So in the NFL, you're playing more physical game. If London's out for an extended period of time, you're going to really, really feel bad that you traded away Odunze. So I think I'd hold.
Yeah, and also keep in mind we got 3 weeks until playoffs, Super Bowl, and things like that. So yeah, don't get too cute with it. I think this is the last week for most leagues to find your last time to trade.
Yeah, true.
But don't get cute with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And start looking ahead on those schedules, because there's some people that, you go on TikTok, everyone's like, hey, trade away this guy because in the Super Bowl, blah blah blah. So be wary, phony homies. Be wary.
Yep.
All right. Anyways,
before we continue on, deal, let's pay some bills. Let's remind the people at home where they can follow us on Twitter.
Tweet FFG.
And remember to use the hashtag when you ask questions. What's that hashtag?
Ask us FFG.
And finally, you can send over emails to us. Deal, what's the best email for the phony homies?
Ask us ffg@gmail.com.
And remember, you can always send text to us at 773-225-5648. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and
smash
the notification button. That way you know when we go live. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, and anywhere that you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you are listening to the podcast right now, always tune in early on our YouTube channel. That way you get the waiver wire suggestions right away versus being a day behind. But who knows? Maybe you're playing a bunch of weirdos. So you might be ahead. It might be a good thing.
Yeah, there's a little bell in the video. You can see it on YouTube. Hit that bell. That way you know. It's gonna send you a little blurb on your phone. You'll be like, oh, look, Jay and DL are live again. Let me tune in real quick and send them a quick question. I was wondering what should I do about this or about that? Send those questions, guys. We'll read them live on air, as always. All right, DL, another jam-packed show, as always. Let's get to the news.
All right, we are going to start things off because, doggone it, we should start it off with this. And with that being said, I want to talk about the Chicago Bears. Why are you asking I'm talking about the Chicago Bears? Because, my friend, they are number 1. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are number 1. Actually, the Bears are number 1. I'm not number 1, but it could be if JC were to retire. But yeah, we are number 1. Basically, let's talk about it. So the Packers lost, right? I'm sorry, the Packers, they lost in Jordan Love. Confusion error, still trying to recreate Rodgers' magic with a Wish.com version of the offense. The Vikings, only one injury away from starting a CFL quarterback and pretending they're still relevant. And the Lions, gritty team that folded the second they saw a real defense. Yeah, we saw that meltdown. Meanwhile, the Chicago Bears are sitting alone at the top. Kings of the North. The Borat,
Yeah.
Okay, anyways. The defense looked like the 85 spirit reincarnated. The offense is cooking. The whole division is panicking. Let's be honest, the NFC North hasn't looked good in years because the Bears are finally the ones running it. That's right. Grab your shades, grab your beef sandwich, grab your Packers fan friend, and tell them the Bears are running the division now. So bear down because it belongs to the Chicago Bears.
That's right. It does. Let's talk about it, DL.
Yeah.
Do you think the Bears are the best team in the NFC North?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I mean, of course I do, because obviously I don't know if you can see the background or see my throw pillow or my hat or my helmet or my bobbleheads. I am a fan. I will say, like, obviously the Lions, like, I feel like they're kind of a shell of their team. I feel like they're just kind of like, when you have like leftovers and like it was really good the first time, and then you get to the second, and then it's like day 5, you're like
turkey.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Turkey wasn't good the first time you had it. The second time you have it, it's not any better.
That's what I feel like the Lions just aren't the Lions of last year, right? Obviously, Ben Johnson moved on, and hey, what do you know? He's over helping us. So, what I'd like to see, though, I mean, they're still coming along. I'm not gonna, get on a ledge and be like, we're going to the Super Bowl. Watch out, we're going to win. I'm not there at all. I'm just happy. I'm very happy that the Bears are 7-3. I'm happy that Ben Johnson is everything that was promised, right? Every little, he's going to be great. He's going to change the culture. We're not sitting here like, what's going on? How come he has we're not making excuses like, well, give him a chance. He's still got like a couple years before he gets things going. No, man, he set the ground running. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good gets better and your better gets best. 1, 2, 3, bear down.
Yeah, I don't think they're the best team in the division, unfortunately.
No.
I just want to be realistic about this. I think the best team in the division is still the Detroit Lions. However, they do look to be having a quarterback problem of sorts. Jared Goff has not been good. He just hasn't. And they seem to be missing that special something, and I think that's Ben Johnson. Not to say that the play calling has been bad, because it has not been bad. The quarterback play has been bad. And I'm hearing rumors that the Lions might be quarterback shopping in the offseason.
Again?
Yeah, I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but
dang,
they're a more complete team. They're better on defense than the Bears are. That's the Bears' bugaboo, that defense. Somehow, some way, they seem to keep making big plays, getting big turnovers when they need it. That Nashawn Wright interception in the end zone, that is crazy. They're causing fumbles. That fumble that they had against the Commanders on Jaden Daniels, where he just dropped it. All kinds of huge plays. Everything seems to be coming up Bears. Talking about Millhouse, but I can't. The Bears can only play who they've had on their schedule. They've been winning games. They're winning close. One of the first signs of a good team is when you learn how to win, and the Bears are learning to win. I think if they continue this stretch, right, if the Bears can pull off 10 wins, that's a playoff team in my mind, and they only need 3 wins to do that. So, let's see what happens. I think they're the number 2 team in the NFC. Bears. So,
I honestly like I said, I'm just happy they got a winning record. We're this week alone, we can celebrate that we are on top and we're kicking everyone's ass and we are number 1, right? So I'm excited about that, right? My whole thing this whole year was like, if we can just get to the playoffs, even if we're 1 and done, that's a great season. Like that's we haven't seen this since 2018, right? And I felt like only yesterday was 2018, but it's not. So, like I said, I mean, the culture, I'm a full believer in Ben Johnson. He has turned that around. And it's not just like BS, like you hear that all the time. Every coach, our culture, we're going to like this and blah, blah, blah. Like he meant what he said and he's doing it. Right. So I'm excited like every year. The only thing I'm thinking in the back of my head is last time I was this excited was the head coach was Matt Nagy. And I was like, hey, we got it. We got Trubisky now. We got our coach. And like, whoa, look at them go. They made it to the playoffs. Double doink. Oh, crap. Okay, next year. And then the wheels came off.
Something's different.
Something's different. It feels different.
Yeah.
It feels genuine.
Yeah, it feels genuine. It feels like the players believe in him. Not that they didn't
Mhm.
believe in Nagy, but like Ben Johnson comes from a proven place. The guy is just a different cat, man. Just a different cat. And yeah, I really quick on the Bears before we transition to some NFL news and the reasons why you guys are watching. Let's be real. You guys want to know the waiver ads and drops and injuries.
Mhm.
Um, the Bears are going to get reinforcements soon. Jalen Johnson was activated from the IR. So that 21-day window was a few days ago. So he's got about 17, 18 days to be activated. Kyler Gordon's coming back. Okay. They're going to get a few guys back. They're going to get TJ Edwards. He's coming back. You add those three guys. We're talking about a Pro Bowler, a near Pro Bowler, and the best linebacker they have on the team coming back soon. That's going to inject life into that defense that sorely needs it. They're one of the worst defenses in the league, and they're going to need their shutdown corner. They're going to need one of the best nickels in the league, and they're going to need their sure tackler in TJ Edwards. So we'll see what happens. Do I think the Bears could, make some noise? Yeah, in the playoffs, I do. I don't enough to win it all, but all you got to do is get to the dance. That's all you can do. And I'm going to leave this here. Guess who the Bears play this week? Oh, a friendly foe. Aaron Rodgers. With a broken freaking wrist, by the way. He's going to play. He wants to play the Bears so bad. And what better way to send him off than to whoop his ass? I would love
Oh my God, I love it.
I would love nothing more.
It started with beating Green Bay last year, right?
Uh-huh.
We didn't get swept. And now we can take out the Karen Rodgers. All right. Enough about the Bears, because we could probably do a whole podcast about that.
We almost did.
Almost. All right. So in other news, the NFL suspended Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase one game for spitting at Steelers Jalen Ramsey. Jamar has been suspended for one game after spitting on Steelers Jalen Ramsey during Sunday's loss. He missed the Bengals Week 12 matchup against the Patriots. The incident happened in the fourth quarter after a heated exchange that turned physical. Ramsey was ejected, and the video confirmed that Chase spit at him. Chase is appealing the suspension. So let's take a look at that, because I've been awesome today, and I found it. So keep in mind that Jamar Chase, when asked right after the incident, like first it was Jalen who's like, we were talking trash, I'm all for it, blah, blah, blah. But then he spit on me and F football that was up, like I'm going to go after him, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Jamar doubled down and said, I didn't spit on him. I don't know what he's talking about. So as any good, football person, I went to Twitter to find evidence. So as you can see here, bam. Did you see that?
One more time.
Roll it back.
One more time.
Roll it back. Right there it is. I mean, it's blatant, dude. Like you can see the stream. Look at that stream. Bam, right on him, dude. Right on him. And like honestly, like here's my thing about it. Like I get it. Your season's not going the way it should. You're frustrated, but like to go to the point to spit on another man, right? And let's keep in mind, I don't want to get like, the race card and all that kind of in here, but like, especially African American, like there's so much history, and like literally you're saying that he's dirt, right? Because where do you spit? You spit on the ground, bro. So I don't know what's been going on, because what was it? Jalen Carter, am I thinking right? He spit on Dak.
Immediate suspension. First play of the game.
Yeah. Why are they spitting on each other? Like, come on, man.
I don't know, man. That's the lowest thing you could do. Mike Tomlin came out, Jalen Ramsey's coach, Steelers coach, who we'll see here in Chicago, who I have a lot of respect for the way he runs his locker room. Maybe not the best coach, but I like how he handles an organization. He came out and said, hey, once spit's involved, that's a man. Let the man, however he wants to react, that's fine with me. If he's getting spit on. And I respected it. I agree. I just think that's the lowest of the low.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't think it's ever.
It's on. I won't even say to my player, no, you can't. Don't hit him. No. If you get spit on, I'm sorry, bro. That's just not flying.
I don't think I've ever gotten that mad where I was like, yeah, nah. You know, like I've never gotten that mad. Like I've been heated. I've been in fights. I've never like spit or like even crossed my mind like I'm gonna spit on this motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy to me. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
It
bananas.
is
All right.
nuts. That
So
1 game suspension deserved.
yeah, honestly. And you know, I hope he learns from it. I hope he moves on and like, you know, it is what it is. Okay. So another breaking news, the Jets bench Justin Fields. They're benching Fields and starting Tyrone Taylor in week 12 against the Ravens. Reports say the switch comes after head coach Aaron Glenn hinted he was evaluating everything following last week's loss. Fields has struggled all season, going 2-7 as a starting and putting one of the league's worst passing offense. He threw just for 116 yards in Week 11's loss to New England, which makes sense. If you saw that game on Thursday night, all he did was run.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyrod Taylor, who replaced Fields earlier in the season before getting hurt, has been more efficient when on the field, tossing 3 touchdowns across 3 appearances. The Jets enter Week 12 2-8 without injured star Garrett Wilson and facing a tough Baltimore defense as Glenn continues searching for answers in the first year as head coach. So, man, honestly, I don't know what to feel because, like, I have a soft spot for Justin Fields.
Yeah, same.
Obviously.
Same.
Like, I just do. And, like, when he went to the Steelers, I'm like, yes, that's like an awesome organization. Like, he's going to do great. And then as soon as Wilson was better, they benched him. Then he went to the Jets. I'm like, well, okay, like he's got the weapons. He's got Garrett Wilson. He's got Priest Lightning. He's got a decent tight end. You know, like he's got the weapons to be successful. And I don't know what it is. He just can't put it together. And he can run, but I don't know. It's sad.
I'm just going to be honest. I just don't think he's that good at diagnosing a play. I don't think he knows where to go with the ball. I think it's the same song and dance. It would be different if he was at least performing on the field. If you take away the runs, man, and it's bad. It's a really bad passing play, really bad awareness on the field, really bad accuracy.
Horrible accuracy.
It sucks, man. It sucks because I want to root for the guy. And he meant a lot to this city here in Chicago, but let's call a spade, man. You got a chance to start in Chicago. You got a chance to start for the Jets. You know, you're getting a chance to start.
Steelers.
And for 3 organizations. For 3 of the biggest organizations in football, mind you. If I don't know what it is, man. I don't think it's for lack of effort. I just don't think it's lack of effort. I think the guy works hard. He works his butt off. First one in, last one out. I just don't think he has it. I'm sorry. I just don't think he's got it.
He does the right things, right? He says the right things, but like in game time, I feel like he's just gun shy. Like he will not throw unless the dude is like just open as hell and there's no one around him, or he just overthrows it. And then you're like, what the fuck was what was that? And then, or he keeps doing, I'm sorry, you've been in the league long enough, or we don't have to do you shouldn't have to do bootlegs anymore. You should be able to diagnose defenses. I don't think he can do that either.
Well, and that's a good thing you're bringing up. Okay, why do you do a bootleg? Why do usually young quarterbacks who are a little more mobile, but generally young quarterbacks do bootlegs? Because when you're rolling, the guys are going with you, so you're only having to see half of the field. The half that you're running towards when you're bootlegging. Why do you do that? So that you can make it easy on the quarterback to find an open guy. He's even more so. Another reason for a bootleg is you're throwing to a spot, like you're throwing to where the guy is. You're not throwing. With the next level for quarterbacks, and this is something that we're seeing more and more with Caleb this year, is he's throwing to places. He's not throwing to guys anymore. Now he's throwing to places where guys are supposed to be. You're seeing him miss by a lot, but it's because the guy is supposed to be there, right? That's what he's doing. That's the next level of quarterback play, and Justin just hasn't gotten there. I'm tired of giving him making excuses for him, man. At some point, he's got to own it, and he did. He has. It's just he's just not good enough to be a quarterback at this level.
Bro.
Unfortunately, he's going to be a backup for the rest of his career. That's fine. There's good money to be made there.
Well, he's making a
Mitch
shitload.
Trubisky's on commercials.
Yeah.
Have you seen him? What the hell is this backup quarterback shit that I keep seeing on TV? Like,
and if they go to the Super Bowl, he'll get a ring. So there you go, man. And he won't get CTE, and his body will be right. You know, all that fun stuff.
Last thing on Fields before we move on.
Sure.
Who's to say that it doesn't click later on in his career? Geno Smith was a journeyman quarterback.
Good point.
And it hit late in his career. Sam Darnold was on freaking 4 teams that he started on, and it finally clicked for him. Daniel Jones finally clicked for him later on in his career. Justin has only been in the league, what is it now, 6 years? Something like that?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So there's a chance, potentially, that it clicks for him later. It's just not there right now.
All right, before I get into injuries, we did have a question. Should I trade Addison for Watson?
Yes. Look, man, I don't like either of their quarterbacks right now, but I think the Vikings quarterback's in danger of being benched. At least Love's going to be the starting quarterback the rest of the year. You know, he's their starter. There's nothing else they could do. So Christian Watson looked really good last week, and we'll talk more about how good he looked later on the show. But multiple touchdowns this past week. He looks like the best receiver on the field. They're without Tucker Kraft. Luke Musgrave looked bad. No Jaden Reed still. Matthew Golden is not really doing much. He's still a rookie. Like, I'd rather have Christian Watson.
And the Bears are on top. So they definitely have to, like, right that ship because I don't think they're taking that lightly. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the injuries real quick here. We'll rapid fire this. We're going to talk about Michael Penix Jr.'s out for the year. He banged up his knee. If you were relying on Penix, time to turn the page. We just talked about Aaron Rodgers. He fractured his wrist, week 12. Status is still unclear. Monitor it closely. You cannot start him unless he gets cleared before kickoff. So we kind of talked about it already. I feel like he's going to do everything he can. He loves playing the Bears in Soldier Field. He said it a couple of times. This one sucked. Drake London out with a PCL sprain. This changes the entire Atlanta passing tree. So if you think about it, like, right, Penix is out, Cousins is in. Even if, you know, Drake was okay, like, Cousins and him really didn't have a solid, I would say, like, rapport. So the bad part is with PCL sprains, it can be anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. We're getting kind of close to the end of the fantasy football season. So I don't know. I guess obviously stash him, don't drop him, because it just depends. Sometimes, you know, players come back and it's only 2 weeks.
It depends on the severity. Severity.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb, I think, was out for 4 weeks. So
with the same injury?
I want to say it was a sprain for sure. Okay. Okay, we're gonna put a bow on it. Josh Jacobs banged up. He banged up his knee. Obviously, the workload may be lighter than normal. Watch Sunday's report. So we're going to help you get through that. If any of these guys are on your roster, I just went with the biggest ones that stuck out to me. There was obviously a lot more of injuries, but those I felt like, especially this time of year, were the biggest ones. So, all right, let's get into the waivers.
All right. Phony homies, it's time to talk about the quarterback position and who to add, who to drop, and what to do for week 12 of the waiver wire season. All right, we'll go ahead and get started with a few interesting names that are on bye this week. The first one we're going to go ahead and mention is Bo Nix. You'll be without Bo Nix this week. No Denver Broncos. Justin Herbert is on bye. Tua is on bye. Not that that matters too much. Jaden Daniels on bye, still hurt. And Marcus Mariota, the starting quarterback right now for the Washington Commanders. So with those guys out, let's talk about a few guys who I think are safe to be dropped in many leagues, usually standard 10-man, 12-man leagues. Aaron Rodgers could be dropped because, he's got a wrist injury, and he's got a pretty low ceiling this week. I like to think so against the Bears. Marcus Mariota can be dropped. He's on a bye, and honestly, he doesn't really have much job security moving forward because Jaden Daniels is coming back. So yeah, or I'm sorry, not that Jaden Daniels is coming back because of he's just not playing well. Not playing well. Next guy that you can go ahead and drop is JJ McCarthy because I think he might get benched soon, and he's got some pretty bad matchups coming up. So you can drop him safely. You can drop Michael Penix, who was moved to IR, and his season is done. And finally, you can drop the admirable running back / quarterback, Justin Fields. You can go ahead and drop him. There's a world where he comes back and plays for the Jets. If the often injured Tyrod Taylor, he gets hurt again. But for now, you can safely drop him. Now, let's talk about who you should add. Okay? The number one add at the quarterback position this week continues to be somebody who we've mentioned going on 3 weeks now, and that's Jacoby Brissett of the Arizona Cardinals. He's only rostered in 40% of fantasy leagues, which is crazy because I have him in like 6 leagues, and I'm starting him over a bunch of really good quarterbacks. Go get Jacoby Brissett. He takes on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 28th against quarterbacks. Now, Brissett is quietly putting up must-start fantasy numbers, okay? For 5 straight starts, he is averaging more than 23.4 fantasy points. 5 straight starts, okay? And the volume is through the roof. Now he draws Jacksonville, a bottom five pass defense. You should definitely add him everywhere. Now, I saw a stat, correct me if I'm wrong, Dustin. I saw a stat where he's averaging more than 40 pass attempts in 3 of his last 5 games. That's nuts. That's a guy who's going out there and throwing it, playing from behind, and throwing it a ton. Super great volume. Go get Jacoby Brissett and start him. The next guy we're going to recommend is Jameis Winston. That's right. 9% rostered Jameis Winston. Now, the Giants take on a pretty bad defense here in Detroit as they go up against the 21st defense against quarterbacks. Okay. Dart is probably going to sit again, it looks like. So if that happens, Winston becomes a streaming play with upside. Detroit forces volume, which means Winston is going to push the ball downfield. And for better or for worse, we think he's probably a QB2 with low QB1 upside. He could finish in the top 12, probably between 11, 12, 13, somewhere in that range. But a guy that you should go out and get if you need a quarterback this week. Next guy we're going to recommend is Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. And he's only rostered in 23% of fantasy leagues. Now, maybe he's not a good real-life quarterback, but in fantasy, he's been okay. Carolina's coming off of Young's best outing of the year with 37.8 fantasy points. And yeah, I know you don't really trust him in QB, 1 QB leagues, but in Superflex, he has a ton of value. And if you're a Justin Herbert GM and you don't have him this week, you could do a lot worse. Go get Bryce Young. The 4th quarterback, and I'm not happy to say this one, is Mason Rudolph of the Steelers. And that's only if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play. So if Rodgers misses time, Rudolph becomes a desperation backup. I only bring this up because I'm in a few 16-team, 20-team leagues, and Mason Rudolph is available. So if he's out there, you could add him, spend like $1 or $2. I don't know it sounds crazy, but it's only if Aaron Rodgers misses time. Yeah.
Real quick, did you see that he's got that weird mustache?
No, I haven't seen it.
It looks weird.
Do you have a picture by chance? Let's see if we can get a picture before I finish the blurb. Next guy we're going to recommend, and another guy I'm not happy to recommend, but we have to say his name, is Kirk. I get paid to be a backup quarterback Cousins. And that's because the Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins take on a really bad New Orleans Saints team who's 18th against quarterbacks defensively. Now that Michael Penix is out for the year, Cousins steps in with limited weapons this week because London's out. However, he has a decent matchup this week, and we think in a deep league, you could definitely go out and get Kirk Cousins because he's going to be available and he could help. Let's see, Mason Rudolph.
See if I can go in a little bit. Look at that pedo.
Was it just a mustache?
Yeah. Actually, it doesn't look too bad.
Oh, that's fine.
No? Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
Continue.
So yeah, not a lot of names at quarterback. Probably really three. And the last guy we're going to mention, somebody who we talked about last week, Joe Burrow. If he's out there, you can go ahead and add him. You can put him in your IR spot. He's a little over 55% rostered, which is crazy. It only bounced up 5%. But he's back practicing, and we think he's probably going to start next week. So if Joe Burrow's out there, go get him too. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of which, actually, we recommended that last week, and as you were talking and going through everything, I literally grabbed him in like 3 of my leagues. In all 3 of those leagues, guess who I have at wide receiver?
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. Oh, buddy, I can't wait. I cannot wait. All right, let's start things off. Let's talk about those running backs, right? So, hold on, let me. Sorry, a little slow on that. Okay, so just keep in mind, some teams are on bye, so you will be out with Devon Achane, Ollie Gordon, RJ Harvey, Jaleel McLennan, Kamane Vidal, Chris Rodriguez Jr., and Bill. So just kind of keep that in mind. So here's some guys, some running backs that I would recommend that you should check for if they're still available. Doesn't hurt to look. First one being, make sure that Trey Benson and Tyler Algier aren't sitting on the waiver wire. Benson is 84% rostered and Algier is 77% rostered. But if you can snag those guys, Trey Benson is supposed to be coming back, and I think they opened a window on him, and he can definitely help you towards the end of your season. I think he can definitely help some of you phony homies win your league. So he should be back after missing 6 games. He's a legit RB2 upside down the stretch. If he has somehow available, stash him everywhere. I mentioned Algier. The reason why, he scored again in week 11. That's 5 TDs in his last 7 games. With Penix and Drake London banged up, Atlanta may lean on the run in week 12. He's a solid flex play versus the Saints. All right, now we're going to get to those cut or drop candidates. First one I'm going to mention is Bill. Sucks, man. 89% roster. Washington is on the bye, and Chris Rodriguez Jr. clearly looks like the better back. Bill hasn't topped 5.8 PPR points in 6 straight. So you can move on. It sucks. I was excited for him when he first started the season, but it's just not there. Obviously, next drop C guy I would say is J.K. Dobbins. He's been placed on IR with a foot injury and is out for the regular season. Safe drop in all redraft formats. And lastly, which sucks, but no shocker here, Nick Chubb. Only 3 carries in week 11, and Woody Marks has taken over the Texas backfield. Chubb isn't worth holding heading into week 12 versus Buffalo. All right, so if you have questions about those, let us know. But we're going to start things off this is the order I would target these running backs. So the first one would be Emmanuel Wilson for the Packers. He's 30% rostered. Josh Jacobs is officially day-to-day with a knee injury after going down in week 11, and there's a real chance he misses week 12 against the Vikings. If Jacobs is out, Emmanuel Wilson becomes a strong RB2 in most leagues. Why Wilson is worth adding? Fills in for Jacobs last week with 11 carries, 40 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 catch for 9 yards. He has 3 games this season with 11 plus touches, even as a backup. Scored 11 PPR points in all 3 of those games. Gets a potential full workload if Jacob sits. And lastly, Minnesota is a tough matchup, 11th versus RBs, but Wilson's volume would make him a safe start. For fab recommendations, we're seeing about 10 to 15% of your remaining budget. If Jacob doesn't play, Wilson becomes a plug and play option with legit upside for week 12. Next, we're going to recommend Kenneth Gainwell, running back for the Steelers. He's 42% rostered. Jalen Warren left week 11 with an ankle injury. And while Mike Tomlin says he's optimistic Warren will play, it's still very much up in the air. If Warren sits, Kenneth Gainwell becomes a must-start running back in all formats. Here are the top 4 reasons why, or we think you should grab him. Filled in versus Cincinnati and went off. 9 carries for 24 yards, 7 receptions, 81 yards, and not 1, but 2 touchdowns. That's 8 targets and 16 total touches. Has 4 games with 10 touches this season. In 2 of those, he dropped 29.5 PPR points. Let that sink in a little bit. Chicago is the middle of the pack versus running backs. They're about 17th, but the volume and receiving upside makes him a smash start if Warren is out. Recommending for fab about 10 to 15% of your remaining budget. Next, we're going to head over to the Bucks with Sean Tucker. He's still only rostered at 47%. He absolutely exploded in week 11. That's Tucker versus Buffalo. 19 carries for 106 yards and 2 touchdowns. A catch for 34 yards and 1 receiving touchdown. A massive 3 touchdown day puts him firmly ahead of Rashid White. 4 down. But here's the catch. Bucky Irving. Now, he could return in week 12 against the Rams. He was close to playing last week, and when healthy, Irving expected to lead the Buccaneers' backfield. That definitely caps Tucker's long-term upside. But still worth that. Pick him up in all leagues. Spend around 10% of your fab. If Irving is out again, Tucker's at least a flex play in week 12. The matchup is tough. Rams are about 3rd versus running backs, but volume matters. If Irving misses time, Tucker remains a startable fantasy option this week. Now, this guy's on bye, but thought I'd throw him in there. Chris Rodriguez Jr. Of the Commanders, 18% rostered. One thing that we already talked about is start thinking ahead, right? We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs. Here are some guys that you may want to stash, or worst case scenario, if your star running back goes down, this is somebody that you can obviously put in right away and not have to go on the waivers and grab some jag, if you will, just a guy. Rodriguez just took over Washington's backfield in week 11 in Madrid versus Miami, and coming out their week 12 bye, looks like a locked-in load. Here's why you should add him. He had 15 carries for 79 yards, 1 catch for 6 yards. Before that, he had 18 carries for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns across weeks 9 through 10. He's clearly running ahead of everyone else right now. Doesn't give much in the passing game, but the early down volumes is real. Washington faces Denver, which is 5th against running backs, but the volume keeps him in a flex conversation, especially if Jaden Daniels' elbow limits the offense. We're recommending about 5% of your remaining budget, your fab for this. Rodriguez can be a weekly flex rest of the season if his role sticks. Next, I'm going to talk about Bashad Tootin for the Jags. He's 40% roster. Tootin left week 11 with an ankle injury, so you're probably wondering, why are you even recommending him? Here's why. He told reporters that he's fine. Keep an eye on practice reports, but he needs to be added everywhere he's available. Now, before he exited in week 11, he logged 15 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. He had more carries than Travis Etienne, 15 to Etienne's 12 at the time of the injury. He's facing Arizona in week 12, a soft matchup because obviously Arizona's 24th against running backs. Jacksonville clearly wants him involved, and the workload trend is very real. He's not a locked-in starter yet, especially if the ankle limits him, but the upside is absolutely worth a stash. We're recommending for fab about 5% of what you have left. Next, we're going to talk about the Giants. And this guy I added last week, Devin Singletary. For the Giants, 36% roster. Now, obviously, Tyrone Tracy stole the show in week 11, but don't overlook Devin Singletary. He's still very much in the backfield, mixing and producing. In week 11, he had 16 carries for 44 yards and 2 touchdowns and 1 catch, which is awesome. Got me a win. He scored 10.3 PPR points in 2 of the last 3 games. with Cam Scattaboo out. Still getting consistent touches, even with Tracy's breakout. And he's facing Detroit in week 12. A tough matchup because they are the number one team against running backs, but the role and goal line work would keep him in the flex-worthy spot. Obviously, he's not a league winner, but he is steady volume back who can help fill bye weeks and injuries. We're recommending about 5% of your fat. Now, this guy, which is my last guy, is Jaleel McLennan.
In the arms of an angel.
No, I'll never forget his name. Granted, he's on a bye, so keep that in mind. He's only rostered about 4%. With Dobbins out for the season, McLaughlin moves up the number 2 spot behind RJ Harvey in Denver. Here's why he's worth the stash. The first game without Dobbins, week 11 versus Kansas City, 6 carries, 19 yards, 1 touchdown, and a catch. Not a startable right now. Harvey owns the backfield, but McLaughlin is one injury away from being a weekly flex. The matchup versus Washington, who's 26 against running backs, doesn't matter much. This is a spectacular ad for depth. So, once again, if you're in one of those kind of like deeper leagues and there's like literally nothing to really add, would be something to take a look at. We're recommending about 1% of your fab. And those folks, phony homies, are who we're recommending for running back. JC?
All right. I like them. Some good names there. Let's jump to wide receivers, and I'll fly through some of these. On bye this week at the wide receiver position is Keenan Allen, Deebo Samuel, Cortland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnston, Troy Franklin, Terry McLaurin, and Malik Washington. And my laptop just loves shaking. I think my laptop has Parkinson's. All right, some wide receivers that you can drop. You can go ahead and drop Keon Coleman. He got benched, and he's just been hella unreliable. Don't know how much longer he'll be a Buffalo Bill. This might be the last season. You could go ahead and drop DJ Moore. I know, crazy, but he's just been wildly inconsistent. I don't think the Bears offense really features him. And wouldn't be surprised if they trade him in the offseason. So you could go ahead and drop DJ Moore. And finally, you can drop Kendrick Bourne. He had 1 target last week. That's 4 straight games with under 7.5 points in fantasy. And he doesn't really have a role worth holding on to. So you can go ahead and drop Kendrick Bourne. Now, we'll go ahead and jump to the wide receivers that you should add. The number 1 wide receiver you should add, probably the number 2 player in fantasy outside of Emmanuel Wilson. Maybe number 1, though. Number 1 in my heart, at least. Michael Wilson of the Arizona Cardinals. He is rostered in only 27% of fantasy leagues, so he's definitely out there. As the Cardinals take on the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Now, against San Francisco, Michael Wilson had 15 catches on 18 targets for 185 yards. Yeah, that's right. A monster game. With Marvin Harrison Jr. out and Brissett slinging the ball over 40 passes in 3 of his last 5 games, Wilson becomes a legitimate wide receiver 2 with legitimately wide receiver 1 upside. That means he could finish in the top 10 at the position at any time. So go out and get him, please. Spend that fab. I would tell you to spend $50 in fab if you had it. I'm not even kidding. It's worth it. He has 2 juicy matchups ahead. This matchup against the Jaguars and then against that pretty sketchy Tampa Bay defense. Just their secondary is not a little banged up. He's a priority ad everywhere. Michael Wilson, the number 1 recommended wide receiver this week. Then second wide receiver that's recommended, Christian Watson. Now, he's rostered over 50% of fantasy leagues. He's rostered in about 64. But I wanted to throw him in here because there's a ton of teams here in Chicago. I've seen it in a few leagues where he's available. So throwing in Christian Watson in there. And the Packers take on the Minnesota Vikings this week, who has been pretty good, the Vikings defense, against wide receivers. But we think he's going to produce. He's finally healthy and finally producing. Watson's first multi-touchdown game of the year and a bump in target share last week with Jacobs out. pay dividends as the Packers are going to start to lean on the passing game a lot more, especially with Jacobs out. Okay, keep that in mind. They're definitely going to throw the ball more. We think he has a solid wide receiver 3 / knocking on the door wide receiver 2 upside, a guy that you should go get and you could throw into your lineup immediately, Christian Watson. The third wide receiver we're going to recommend is Andre Yoshivas. I wish DL had to say that name because he would have butchered it. He's only rostered in 2% of fantasy leagues as the Cincinnati Bengals take on the New England Patriots. The reason we're going to recommend him is because Jamar Chase is going to be suspended and because Yoshivas is going to be the guy that benefits those targets. He becomes an instant volume getter. He's already shown that he can deliver when he gets 7 or more targets per game, and Flacco throws a ton. So we think he's a perfect stream option at the wide receiver position. The fourth guy we're going to recommend is Kayshon Boutte, who is rostered in a little over 50% of fantasy leagues. Boutte was heating up before the hamstring injury. If practices this week, we think he can be right back on track for flex appeal. He has 4 touchdowns over a 3-week stretch before getting hurt. And to be frank, he's the number 1 receiver for Drake May. And you want to get the number 1 receiver for Drake May right now. Finally, the fifth and final wide receiver we recommend off waivers is Josh Downs of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, he's rostered in a little over 50% of fantasy leagues. However, I did see him available in a few of mine. So, forget about week 10. Forget it. Downs had a 4-game streak of double-digit PPR before that. Double-digit PPR targets, okay? He's the wide receiver 3 in a pass-heavy offense, and he should be starting, we think, in all 12-team leagues. He's got crazy upside and is seeing the target share. Josh Downs, if he's available, make sure to add him. This is cool.
All right, I liked it. Sorry, I saw it. Yeah, I mean, out of all of them, I do like Yoshivas a lot.
Oh.
Yoshivas has just been great. I mean, he's everywhere. I mean, you could just see Yoshivas getting open.
So I'm glad you're just going to say Yoshivas over and over.
Yeah,
and over.
Yoshivas. I don't know why you thought that. We got some questions in the chat from Brian. He wants to know, Aaron Rodgers, would we smash or pass? I'm going to go with a hard pass. He is credit fail for sure.
I hope he gets smashed by the Bears. Pause.
Yeah, right in the. And just had to put this up here because I'm in a league where I'm dead last, but I got to win. So just trying to get out of last place. And I played Will. So, yeah.
Oh, Billy. Thanks, Billy, for tuning in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Billy. Willie.
Billy.
Man. It was close, man. It was one of those, but I got that stack with Dak and CD. It was awesome. Totally saved my week. And lastly, Brian is doing Brian things. I just put in a bid for Michael Wilson, dropping Wandell. All right. Good for you, bro. All right. We're going to move on, and we're going to talk about QB. No, not QBs. Tight ends. Shh. My bad, bro. All right. So we're going to start things off with, if they're available, you should try to see if these guys are still there. Keep in mind that, we got some people on bye. You got Gadsden on bye, Evan Ingram, Zach Ertz, and Greg Dulcich. Injuries, Sam Laporta, Tyler Higbee. Who cares? So here's the guy that we're going to recommend. First things first, if you can find these guys, Kyle Pitts. Yes, I'm recommending him. 82% roster. Why? If he's out there, grab him. Last time Kirk Cousins started for the Falcons when Penix and Drake London were both out, Pitts saw 9 targets, 9 catches for 59 yards. This looks like a similar circumstance in Week 12. Also, Theo Johnson, 74% roster, but he might be there. Yeah, Week 11 was a down week, 3 for 36. But before that, 10-plus PPR in 5 out of the last 7. Here's some dropsies. You can go ahead and drop Sam Laporta, especially if you're in a smaller league, that is. He's on IR, and he probably won't be out of IR until Week 15. If you don't have an IR spot, you can drop him, especially if you're a 10-team league. Zach Ertz, Washington's on bye, and he hasn't had a touchdown since week 7. TJ Hawkinson, I don't know why you would still have him because we recommend dropping him probably back in week 3. But if you still have him, you can drop him because with JJ McCarthy, he has 4 targets or fewer in 4 out of 5 games. So that's not going to help you win. We're also going to recommend dropping David Njoku. Just 3 catches for 28 yards and a TD over his last 2 games. With Shadur Sanders is starting and Harold Fan Jr. keeps outplaying him. Njoku is droppable. Fan is a better start. Couldn't agree more. And lastly, but not least, Evan Ingram. Heading into week 12 bye with 4 straight games under 8 PPR points. No touchdowns since week 5. There is no upside. You can go ahead. This isn't the guy that, maybe this is his week. It's not his week. All right. So, guys, you should pick up or target on the waiver wire. We're going to mention his name again. Juwan Johnson for the Saints, 46% roster. Here's why. He scored 10.3 PPR points in all but 3 games this season. He's really become a go-to weapon for Tyler Sherlock? How do I say his name? Anyway, he faces Atlanta in week 12, a tough matchup, but because they are 3rd against tight ends, but the volume is there, and he's producing like a legit every week starter. We're going to recommend about 10% of your fab if you still have that remaining budget. Next, we're going to recommend Noah Fant. He's 18% rostered. He's had 2 touchdowns in 5 games with Joe Flacco starting. Just saw a season high 6 targets in week 11, 5 catches for 36 yards. With Chase out, there's a double-digit target up for grabs. They're going against the Patriots, who are 24th versus tight ends and giving up the 9th most fantasy points to that position. He's not a lock-in tight end 1, but in deeper leagues, he's a solid low-end starter with a sneaky touchdown upside. So with your fab, we'll recommend about 1%. Kind of a cheap option there. Another cheap option we're going to recommend is A.J. Barner. For the Seattle Seahawks, he's 20% rostered. Now, he's had 10 PPR points in 5 of his last 7 games. He's seen a steady involvement in Seattle's passing game. Also serves as Seattle's tush-push short yardage tight end option. Scored on it in week 9. And he's facing Tennessee in week 12. Middle tier matchup. They're about 10th ranked versus tight ends. Obviously, he's a low-end tight end starter in deeper formats and a strong streamer for this week. So if you're desperate, this might be your guy. We're recommending about 1% of your fab budget. Last but not least, Chigozie Oakana-Keo. He's about 5% roster.
Who? Chigozie Okonkwo.
That's what I said. Roll it back. You'll see it. Anyways, here's why we're recommending him. In week 11, he caught 3 catches for 56 yards on 3 targets. Should see more volume with wide receiver room depleted. Yes, Calvin Ridley, almost said Johnson. Calvin Ridley broke his fibula in his foot, so he's out. I don't think he's coming back. He's got a great matchup, Okanoa versus Seattle. They rank 30th versus tight end and 5th most fantasy points allowed to the tight end position. He's quietly being involved and could see a spike in targets this week. The only other guy that you may want to take a look at is Gunnar Helm. 2% roster is also in play after 4 catches, 29 yards out of 5 targets. But I would say, Okonkwo is better.
Okonkwo.
We're recommending about 1% of fab.
Chig. Let's call him Chig.
Chig. Yeah, Chig. That's what I meant. Chig. We would definitely recommend Chig first. So if you can snag him in those super deep leagues, might be your guy. So those would be your tight ends. See how fast I went flying.
Good, man. That's pretty good. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
The 2 defenses. I'll take the first. The first defense we're going to recommend is Dang, this freaking computer just loves shaking.
Shake it.
The Raiders. And that's because they take on
Vegas.
Shedeur Sanders and the Browns this week. Las Vegas will be at home against a really bad Shedeur Sanders. I would add them everywhere and stream them. Go stream the Raiders. And the second team, DL?
Yeah, the second team, Saints versus Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. Maybe Kirk is rusty. He's without his top target, Drake London, and the Saints will be at home. So, Saints D, hit it up because they're going to get him right in his.
Did you just say Saints D, get it up, Paul? Is that what you just said?
Huh?
I don't know what you said. Roll that back. I don't know. It was crazy.
It's been one of those nights.
The Bears take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. What is your score prediction?
I hate doing score predictions.
Okay,
really
what is your? Just give me a score prediction. No.
All right, fine. Fuck it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 21-16.
I was gonna say 21-17 Bears, but I'll change it because you went there. I will say. Let's get 3 Cairo Santos kicks. Caleb Williams, another game-winning drive, somehow, some way. We'll say Bears 24. Steelers 17.
You know what they're calling Caleb Williams?
What are they calling him?
Cardiac Caleb.
Ooh.
Because, at the end, every Bears fan is having a heart attack after each game. Like, it's crazy now. Honestly, it's crazy. I was hanging out with my daughter, so a lot of times I'm like recording the Bears game. I have to, once again, I mentioned this last week, I have to like hide my phone because I'm like, oh my gosh, don't ruin it for me. And I was like, I thought I caught the score, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, the Bears are gonna win. And then all of a sudden, I was watching that game. I was like, oh my god, if they might lose, and then of course they don't. And you know what's fun about that? You know what's fun about being a Bears fan? The team that's winning is that they're coming back. Yeah. When was the last time that you used to watch a Bears game and they're getting shelled, or not shelled, but like all of a sudden they start losing, that they come back and win it? I can't remember the last time.
Very rarely. That game against Arizona in 2005, I remember that one.
Oh, Creano.
That's the one, yeah.
We thought who they thought they were.
The Bears are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. I'll never forget that.
Yep. I remember watching that game. I was on the bar. It was great. That was exciting.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I'll say this, DL, and we'll leave it with this, phony homies and Bears fans alike. If the Bears are within 1 score or less, I believe in Caleb Williams and that Bears offense. They're going to score. It's crazy how he looks like a whole different quarterback in that fourth quarter. It's crazy.
Okay. But let's not forget Duvernay. Like,
good, man.
Whole 50 seconds left. Like, I was like, this is stupid. I almost turned it off. I almost turned it off. And then all of a sudden I saw him run. I was like, oh, hell yeah. As soon as he got there, I was like, we got this. I literally was like, we got this. I'm not even worried.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
It's awesome.
All right, that's it for today's episode, phony homies. Remember to shoot your start sit questions and any fantasy-related questions. Screw it. Any life questions that you have to us by tweeting us at
TweetFFG.
And use the hashtag
Ask Us FFG.
Or, as always, if you prefer email, you can send those email questions to us.
Yeah, we love those. AskUsFFG@gmail.com.
And finally, those voicemails, those texts, those pictures, you can send those nudes to 773-225-5648. Thanks for tuning in, phony homies. I'm your host, John Carlo, and for my co-host, DL. Thank you again for your awesome advice, DL. We'll catch you guys on another episode of the Fake Football Guys show. Like, share, subscribe, and
smash
that notification button so that you know when we go live. Go Bears, bear down.
Bear down, number 1, baby.